Okay, is that working?
Yes, it is.
Hey, so, welcome. Today we're going to have a little talk about project planning. Try to keep it short. I just want to start this with a disclaimer, okay? You are not the target audience for this talk, okay? If you feel personally attacked, it's okay. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself.
Oh my God.
This is me like 15 years ago, back when I first started game development and programming and stuff. This guy's a moron. But anyway, this is just after my first semester of university. I went camping with my friends to celebrate, not knowing that I failed half my subjects because I went into university thinking that the American Pie movies were documentaries and you could just party your way through it and show up to, like 50% means you show up to half your lectures, right? That's all you need for a 4. Okay, so my point is I know that project planning can be a little strange. This is the eat your vegetables talk, right? We really know that we should be doing this, but don't worry, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to myself. Having said that, if I was at this presentation, maybe there'd be something useful that I could learn that I would then ignore. So, why plan projects? For a number of reasons. First of all, these days we have a whole bunch of things we need to do which are independent of each other, and that involves a bunch of context switches. So if we can have everything documented, it's very easy to restart tasks. It's very easy to orient ourselves into new tasks, right? If you're the one programmer working on your whole system, it's really great to have everything documented. Basically, the more you can plan things out, the more granular your sub-steps will be, and the more progress you'll make because you'll be doing these really tiny things. Fun story, this is actually a true story. On the weekend, I woke up on Sunday and just slept for like an extra hour and a half after I woke up because I was so exhausted. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get nothing done today. So here's my to-do list. Watch one episode of my favorite drama show. Do the washing. Watch another episode. I literally wrote this down. And you know what? I ticked off everything on that list and it felt good. What was the drama show? Okay. The other thing, and like I said, I'm talking to myself, right? There's sort of a thing that I see, sort of an attitude of like, oh, when I go to university, the assignment tells me what to do. And then I'm going to graduate and my boss is going to tell me what to do. And it's like, well, if you want to sort of step outside of that system and like do your own thing, you really need to get good at managing yourself. Okay, Google, how do I disrupt X industry? Yeah, like Google's going to tell you. Okay, last thing. If you've interacted with me at all and gotten sort of a weird vibe, like sort of a used car salesman vibe, it's because I'm an independent game developer. I have staff, on payroll. I have skin in the game. So I'm basically a used car salesman. And one of the things about being an independent game developer is there are times when you want to apply for government funding or, talk to people to get them to invest and give money. And in that case, the number one thing that you need is a solid plan, which is transparent, which describes how you're going to get from point A to point B, hopefully in a straight line. Demos and examples. I've got a few of these. I did make these ahead of time. It's very quick to make PlantUML stuff, but So first thing, when we're starting a project, it's really good just to have a mind map. By the way, PlantUML, if you're not aware, is a Java program for generating diagrams of all types. You pretty much specify the diagram in code, and then in Visual Studio Code, there's a little preview button you can hit, and that generates a diagram from the description. So here we've got, this set of objects. And the really cool thing is we can jump in and edit these in real time. So let's say, what's another system I would like? Some sort of scoring system. So I say, alrighty, we're going to have a scoring system. The diagram updates in real time. We can signal whether we want to color this. So let's say this scoring system is incomplete at the moment. We can just color it red, and you can pass this on to your developers in your team and say, finish the graph. And they'll just go through, they'll say, hey, I need to make a scoring system. So then they can add subparts to this. So we can say 1, 2, 3, 4 underscore task A. And that comes on. And then they can just put in, task B and so on and so on. And like I said, the more of these things we have, we can make it really explicit and just sort of, line things up. So that's pretty cool. Another example, class diagrams. So in the mid-semester break, I went and made a short little video game. And one of the things that enabled me to make that video game so quickly was having a large description, like a big overview of all of the, systems, classes, packages, all of that stuff. So here we can describe a class. We've got the attributes of the class down here. And then we can just type in our methods. And like I said, PlantUML will auto-complete this in real time. We can indicate inheritance by just putting arrows. So we have entity is a rectangle, and we can actually make that really explicit by labeling that arrow. And it pops in there. This is really good. Side note, I'm going to launch on like a rant here. Being able to get a high-level overview of the way your parts of your system composite together is really good. Example, try writing a Vulkan renderer without a plan. Okay, sequence diagram. So a sequence diagram is really great for time-dependent behavior. So here we have a bunch of classes, model, player, audio system, and we can see, at one time, some event is passed along to the player. The player does some logic to handle it. And then as the player walks, it sends another message to say, hey, I stepped. Now the model, if it subscribes to events from the player, can read that off and say, well, I don't know how to handle that event, I'll do nothing. But then the audio system could also be subscribing to the player, and it could say, hey, a step event happened, I can play a step sound. Similarly, state diagrams. If you've done like finite state machines, if you want to really clearly visualize your logic for your transition between states with your objects, that's available. And then the last one, for me, this was the killer feature, is the Gantt chart. So PlantUML has capability for you to make Gantt charts. All you do is define, when the project starts. You have a task, you indicate when it starts, how long it lasts, and then you can have tasks depending on other tasks. So, making the cutscene node is going to start after we started making the intro logo, and so on. And you can have milestones. So the milestone intro done happens right here. It pretty much uses pretty intuitive natural language. And let me see if I remember this. We can also indicate completion. So we can say this is 50% complete. Yeah. So you can indicate in real time how you're going with each of your tasks. But hey, like I said, I'm just talking to myself. I'm sure, all of you guys, when you start a project, you plan everything out, so you're good. I Want to Be Suptar, which is short for superstar, and it's about this girl who wants to be a superstar. Thanks. The last thing I'll mention, just acknowledgements. Like I said, I'm not a powerhouse. I have like 2 staff members who I work with. Violet Truong is our composer. She's based in Singapore. And Chatanong Pamampol is our illustrator and animator. He's based in Bangkok. Anyway, thanks for listening, and